Did you know that many high-stakes business decisions are lost before the official meeting even begins? The problem is often a lack of strategic rapport. If your small talk feels repetitive or superficial, your partner may perceive a lack of executive depth.
I've experienced that tension, Sarah. You have a solid proposal, but the initial conversation feels forced. It's difficult to transition from a casual hello to a strategic partnership discussion without sounding too aggressive.
Exactly. Welcome to Business English for Success. I'm Sarah, and with me is Mark. Today we are going to simplify these complex social dynamics. We will show you how to use professional inquiry to build trust, helping you start your negotiations from a position of mutual respect.
We have prepared 12 practical scenarios for you, including 15 high-impact phrases for rapport building, 5 sophisticated transitions to business topics, and a deep analysis of common phrasal verbs used by executives. Stay with us until the end to understand the timeline-based progression.
Mark, let's analyze a typical networking scenario. Most professionals use what we call safe fillers, like, "How are you enjoying the conference?" While polite, it doesn't establish your professional identity. It's what we call standard English, not business English.
So instead of just being polite, I should be contextual. How do I change my opening to sound more like a strategic partner?
Instead of a generic question, use an observation-based inquiry. Let's look at this phrase. "I've been following your company's recent expansion into sustainable energy. It's quite a bold move. How has that shift influenced your current operations?"
Expansion into. That's a great phrasal verb. It sounds much more natural than just saying growth. By asking about operations, I'm showing that I understand their business model.
Correct. Let's compare the two. "How are you" is often low yield, but "how has that shift influenced your operations" invites a high-level response. You are moving from small talk to big talk. You are demonstrating business acumen.
I see the difference. One is just being friendly, the other is being relevant. But Sarah, what if the partner is very busy and gives a brief answer? How do I keep the momentum going without being pushy? Sarah, I often hit a common conversational barrier when a potential client says, "We're just keeping our options open right now." When I hear that, I usually don't know how to respond without sounding like I'm trying to sell them something.
That phrase, "keeping our options open," is actually a signal. They are evaluating the market. Instead of pushing your service, you should align with their caution. Before we continue, I have a question for our community. Engagement point 1. Have you ever found it difficult to transition from a social chat to a business topic? What is the most common hesitation you hear from clients? Let us know in the comments so we can analyze it in our next video.
I'm looking forward to reading those. So, how do I handle the keeping our options open situation professionally?
You use a phrase that shows you are on their side. Try this. "I completely understand. In this economic climate, it's vital to weigh up every possibility. Most of my partners are currently focused on risk mitigation. Is that a priority for your team as well?"
Weigh up, another useful phrasal verb. It sounds so much more professional than consider. And risk mitigation is a term every manager cares about. I'm not selling, I'm empathizing with their strategic goals.
Exactly. You are on the same page as your partner. By using risk mitigation, you have successfully established your intellectual value. But Mark, there is a common reputation trap, a single word that many use thinking they are being polite, but it actually weakens their authority. Do you know what it is?
Sarah, in part 2, you mentioned an authority trap, a word that many of us use thinking it makes us sound polite. I've been replaying my past conversations in my head. Is it the word just?
Exactly, Mark. It is the word just. We often say, "I'm just checking in," or "I just wanted to ask." We think it makes us sound less pushy, but in a high-level business context, it actually makes your request seem less important.
I see what you mean. It's like I'm apologizing for taking up their time. So if I remove just, how do I keep it professional but firm?
Let's compare. Instead of, I just wanted to follow up on our previous discussion, try, I am following up on our previous discussion to clarify the next steps. Notice the difference? The second version is direct and intentional. It signals that your time is as valuable as theirs.
That's a powerful shift. Finalize sounds so much more decisive than check. It shows I am focused on the result.
Correct. And let's look at another one. I think versus I am confident. Executives don't want to hear what you think, they want to hear what you have verified. Instead of, I think this will help, use, I am confident this will streamline your current process.
Streamline. That's another great verb. It's much more specific than help. I'm starting to see that business English is about precision, not just fluency.
Precisely. You are choosing words that carry weight. But Mark, even with perfect vocabulary, if you stay in the small talk zone for too long, you risk being perceived as informal by your client. You need to know how to transition. In Part 4, we will master the strategic pivot, the bridge from social rapport to moving the decision forward.
Sarah, this is where I usually fail. We've been talking about the industry, we're both enjoying our coffee, but I have a proposal in my briefcase. How do I bring it up without making the atmosphere feel cold or transactional?
This is a common fear. Many professionals choose to pause at this stage, but that gap often becomes an awkward silence. You need a logical bridge. We call this the speaking of blank technique.
Can you show me how that works in a real dialogue?
Of course. Imagine your partner just finished talking about their struggle with international shipping. You don't just say, okay. You say, speaking of shipping challenges, that is actually at the heart of why I wanted to connect today. Our new model was specifically designed to iron out those exact logistical bottlenecks.
At the heart of and iron out. I love that. It's a phrasal verb that sounds very active. By saying, speaking of, it feels like my proposal is a continuation of our chat, not an interruption.
Exactly. You aren't changing the subject, you are narrowing it. You are showing that you are listening carefully. You've moved from being a talker to a problem solver.
That takes the pressure off completely. It's a very civil way to get down to business. So let's recap where we are. We've used contextual openings, we've mirrored their concerns, we've cleaned up our authority language, and now we've successfully pivoted.
You've built a very strong foundation, Mark. But here is the ultimate challenge. What if, after all this, the client says, it sounds promising, but it's not the right time for us? Many professionals choose to pause here. In Part 5, I will show you how to handle strategic hesitation with executive presence. This is where the real negotiation begins.
Sarah, we just finished the strategic pivot, but here's a common reality. The partner looks at me and says, Mark, this sounds very promising, but it's just not the right time for us to transition to a new model. My first instinct is to apologize and withdraw. How do I stay in the conversation without sounding pushy?
That is a very common reaction, Mark, but in strategic business English, we don't see not the right time as a final refusal. We see it as a request for more context. Many professionals choose to pause at this stage, but you need to dig a little deeper.
So I shouldn't press for a decision, but I shouldn't walk away either. What is the academic approach here?
You use a technique called empathetic clarification. Instead of arguing, you align with their concern. Try this phrase. I completely understand. Timing is pivotal in any strategic partnership. Could you help me understand which internal priorities you are currently vying with?
Pivotal and vying with. I see. By asking about their internal priorities, I'm showing that I care about their business cycle, not just my own goals. It turns a hesitation into a high-level conversation about their workflow.
Exactly. You are using active listening to uncover the real bottleneck. When you use vying with, it sounds much more professional than just asking, what are you busy with? It's an executive-level inquiry. Engagement point number 2. For everyone watching, have you ever lost momentum because of bad timing? Do you think it was really about the time, or was it about the perceived value? Hit that like button if you want us to do a deep dive into value positioning in our next series.
Sarah, this happens a lot in networking.
I have a great rapport with someone, but then I realize they're an operational manager, not the final decision maker. How do I ask for an introduction to the leadership team without making my current contact feel unimportant?
This is a delicate balance. You need to turn your current contact into your champion. In executive English, we avoid being blunt. We don't ask, "Who is your boss?" Instead, we use inclusionary language.
Inclusionary language. How does that sound in a professional dialogue?
Try this. It's clear you have a strong grasp of the operational side. Beyond yourself, who else would need to weigh in on a partnership of this scale to ensure it aligns with the company's long-term vision?
Grasp of, weigh in on, and aligns with. I see. By saying beyond yourself, I'm acknowledging their importance first. And weigh in on sounds like I'm asking for a team collaboration, which is much more respectful.
Precisely. You are empowering them to lead you to the leadership team. You are using the idiom to be in the loop. You want to keep them in the loop while moving toward the person with the formal authority. This is how you build a strategic alliance inside the company.
This is much more sophisticated than just asking for a meeting. It's about navigating the corporate hierarchy with finesse.
Exactly, Mark. But once you have that introduction, there's a new challenge, the budget discussion. In Part 7, we're going to discuss the most elegant way to talk about resources without sounding transactional. It's all about the premium vocabulary.
Sarah, we've built great rapport, but then the partner drops the resource question. They ask, "So, what are we looking at for a project like this?" In the past, I'd just provide a flat figure and hope it wasn't perceived as too high, but it always feels like I'm haggling, not negotiating a strategic partnership.
That feeling happens because you haven't established a value frame. In executive English, we move away from discussing costs and focus on investment levels or budgetary allocations. Providing a raw number in a casual setting can make your expertise look like a commodity rather than a solution.
So how do I redirect the question without sounding like I'm avoiding it?
You use a technique called qualitative anchoring. Instead of a number, provide a range based on their objectives. Try this. To provide an accurate figure, I'd need to drill down into your specific requirements. Typically, for a high-impact transformation of this scale, our partners set aside a budget that reflects their long-term goals. Does that align with your current fiscal planning?
Drill down into, set aside, and align with. I see. By using fiscal planning instead of just budget, I'm elevating the conversation. I'm not just discussing a transaction, I'm acting as a consultant for their long-term success.
Exactly. You've moved the focus to allocation. The phrasal verb drill down into signals that you are a meticulous professional. You are protecting the perceived value of your expertise by emphasizing your process.
That is a much more elegant way to handle the pressure. But Sarah, what if they say they're already satisfied with their current provider? That's another conversational barrier for me.
That is the competitor wall, and it's actually a golden opportunity to show your strategic edge. We'll break that down in Part 8. Mark, never criticize a competitor. It's a breach of professional etiquette and can be perceived as insecurity. Instead, you should acknowledge their choice and then pivot to your unique approach.
So if they say, "We've been with a global firm for 10 years and we're quite satisfied," what is my academic response?
You use the complementary gap strategy. Try this. That firm is well established. Many of our partners utilized their services before their operations reached a level of complexity that required a more bespoke approach. Are there any niche areas where you feel your current setup might be falling short?
Bespoke and falling short. I love the word bespoke. It sounds so much more premium than customized. And falling short is a gentle way to ask about their pain points without being aggressive.
Precisely. You are positioned as the next level of their evolution. You are using the phrasal verb to fall short to invite them to share their challenges. Engagement point number 3. We're reaching a key moment in our lesson. Out of all the power verbs we've discussed so far, like streamline, drill down, or bespoke, which one do you think would have the most impact in your next meeting? Write it in the comments below. It's a great way to commit these to memory.
I'm seeing some great insights in the comments already. Sarah, once we've identified where the current setup is falling short, how do we finally move to the formal agreement phase? I want to move the conversation forward.
That is the final piece of the puzzle. In Part 9, we will learn the presumptive progression, the most sophisticated way to end a social session by assuming the partnership is already moving forward. It's all about the timeline-based strategy.
Sarah, we are approaching the end of our conversation. The rapport is excellent, but I'm always worried about breaking the natural flow by asking for a formal alignment. It often feels too abrupt after such a constructive dialogue.
That's because you're asking for permission instead of suggesting progress. In strategic business English, we use the presumptive progression. You assume the next step is a natural evolution of your discussion.
Assuming the partnership is moving forward? Isn't that a bit overconfident?
Not if you frame it around their timeline. Instead of a direct yes-no question, ask about the implementation. Try this. Based on our exchange, it seems like streamlining your operations is a priority for the upcoming quarter. What would be the most effective timeline for us to onboard your team to ensure a seamless transition?
Onboard and timeline. I see the logic. By focusing on the timeline, I'm not asking if they want to work with me. I'm asking how fast they want to see the results. I'm staying focused on their operational benefit.
Exactly. You are using the phrasal verb to onboard. It signals that you have a professional framework already in place. You aren't just presenting a proposal, you are providing a seamless transition.
And if they provide a date, we have essentially created clarity around next steps without any pressure.
Correct. But remember, how you conclude the meeting is vital. We must ensure the agreement doesn't fall through later. Let's look at the executive exit in Part 10.
Sarah, they provided a timeline for next steps. Now, I want to make sure I leave the room without losing that momentum.
Don't leave just yet, Mark. This is where many partnerships fall through. You must reiterate the key points. You need to confirm the next steps with a brief professional summary.
So, even in a social setting, I should end with a summary?
Yes, but keep it light and helpful. Use the follow-up protocol. Try this. I've truly valued our exchange today. To ensure we are on the same page, I'll touch base via email this evening with a brief summary of the targets we discussed. Does that work for your schedule?
Touch base and on the same page. These are perfect. They sound professional yet collaborative. By asking, does that work for you, I'm maintaining a respectful dialogue while setting the next milestone.
Exactly. Touch base is a high-frequency phrasal verb in American business. It's less formal than submitting a report, but very effective for maintaining momentum. You've done an incredible job today, Mark. Let's recap the 5 core strategies for our global audience. 1. Lead with a contextual observation rather than the weather. 2. Avoid authority traps like the over-reliance on the word just. 3. Use mirroring to bridge gaps in the conversation. 4. Pivot to business topics using a logical bridge. 5. Move forward by focusing on the timeline, not just the outcome.
And let's not forget our executive vocabulary: streamline, bespoke, risk mitigation, and onboarding. These tools help build a professional identity that others trust.
Success in leadership is 20% what you know and 80% how you communicate it. Engagement point number 3. Before we sign off, we want to hear from you. Out of all the 10 parts we've covered, which one was your light bulb moment? Write that specific strategy or phrase in the comments. We read and respond to every professional story shared here.
If you found this easy business English approach valuable, explore our other videos on strategic communication. Each lesson is designed to support your career progression.
Remember, a partnership isn't just a document, it's a relationship built on clear communication. Speak with intent. We'll see you in the next episode.
See you then. Goodbye, everyone.